हाँ ये आपको दिख रहा है ना, वही करिए। अभी क्यों गिरा चालू रिकॉर्डिंग में?
देख रहा हूँ।
Thanks, Suman. So, I am going to share my experience of my PhD and give some suggestions to all of you. So, first of all, let me tell you, I am going to be very informal. So, I do not have any slides to show to you. I'll just share whatever comes to my mind. Okay. So, I have done MTech and PhD from our department. So, 2013 I came here. So, 10 years. It has been a long time, but I'm quite happy today. First reason is before leaving campus, I actually wanted to interact with all of you. During PhD, I have not been too much communicative, so at least before leaving, I wanted to communicate with all of you. And another good thing is that I recently got appointed as assistant professor at NIT Calicut. So thank you. So it took a long time, but finally I have got good results. So this is the first lesson that I learned and I want to share. That this has happened to with me during PhD also. That I put so much efforts and I didn't get result. But when the time came, at proper time the result came and the results were very good. So you should be ready to face any kind of situation in PhD. You should be ready to take time. You should be ready for rejections that you face in PhD. That is the first lesson I would like to share. Okay. So then let me start with how I started. So first, when I came for interview, I appeared for interview and got selected. Again, on that day itself, I learned another lesson. I observed that there were many people who had CGPA 9, 9.5 in MTech, but they were not selected for PhD. Nobody was ready to take them because their fundamentals were not so clear, or the professor felt that doing PhD with him or her would not be, their frequency or wavelength would not match with these students. Okay. So what I mean to say is, for doing PhD, it's not compulsory that you have gold medal or you have 9 CGPA, 9.5 CGPA. It's okay if you have, but it's not compulsory. But what's more important is you should know the fundamentals and you should be sincere, and that should be good matching of frequency with the guide. Okay. It may be possible that somebody got admission in MIT, but the guide is not good, then there will be problem. But it may be possible that you are doing PhD at some not very big institute, but your guide is good, then you will be able to do it properly. Okay. So on some Teachers' Day, I read this one beautiful sentence that a good relationship between a teacher and students happens when the student has faith in the teacher's wisdom and the teacher has faith in the student's sincerity and potential. Okay, so both things are necessary. And fortunately, I got a very good supervisor and I had a wonderful coordination with him. There are many instances when I felt that it's difficult for me to do this task, but he encouraged me and finally I could do it. Okay, so this is what I want to emphasize, that relationship between guide and students is extremely important. On the Research Scholar Day, our Professor Vaising sir gave one presentation and he told about the relationship between student and guide. It was a wonderful lecture. I'll talk about it later also, but right now let me move ahead. So first I cleared the interview, then I started my PhD. The first thing we do is the coursework. Okay, so we all know it's a simple thing what we have to do, but I would suggest one thing. For deciding what course to do, if you already have selected your topic, you should choose one subject which is related to your topic. And if your topic, PhD topic, is not decided, you choose the subject, coursework, which is of interest to you. I can give one example. There is I know one person who took some course. He is from USA, and based on that course, he decided his PhD topic. He completed it, and currently he is a assistant professor at Virginia Tech, and he has got very good publications. So only based on one coursework, he was able to decide his PhD topic. Okay, so coursework can play a big role in that. And with coursework, of course, we continue our literature review. So I came across this once a wonderful book in which they have described different techniques, different methods through which we can enhance the process of our study, our learning, preparation of exam or presentation or anything. So I would recommend this book to everybody. Let me write the name of that book. So this is the name of the book, Ready Study Go. The author is so there is different techniques like mind mapping and all others. So I implemented these techniques and it benefited me a lot throughout my PhD. I guess it can be useful for all students, BTech, MTech, PhD, or even academicians or anybody else. Okay, a very simple language, but it's a treasure of knowledge, I would say. Okay, so the first I talked about coursework, then comes literature review. So from my PhD experience, I felt that the most important part in PhD is literature review. Different people may have different opinion, but this is my perception because I share you my experience. So there was initial time period in my PhD when I did not have command over my topic. I didn't had sufficient literature review. So whatever sir said, I used to do. Sir said you do this, I did that. Sir said you do this, I did that. But then a point came when I had sufficient amount of literature review. I became confident. Sir himself appreciated me. He told that your understanding has improved significantly. I exactly remember these words he told me. And that was a point. After that, I started taking decisions myself. I gave suggestions to sir, we can do this. And then all the results started coming. And really, that was the turning point of my PhD, I would say. So, literature review, the most important part, you should put sufficient emphasis.
And when was this? At what point of your timeline? क्या था? कौन सी year के बाद?
I tell you the truth. 2020. 4 years after my PhD. Okay. So, actually it was COVID. So, I went home. So, during the day I did my numerical simulations, and after that, whatever time I got, I used to do literature review. So, I could do that. Okay. And after that, there was some research progress seminar. After that, sir said this sentence to me. Okay. Fine. So, okay. We all know the tools like Scopus, Web of Science, and Google Scholar. And last time, Digvijay suggested one more, Elicit. That is the tool you can use for literature review. Okay, fine. So, after that, the next point came. I attended my first conference. That was after 1.5 years of my PhD. It was at IIT Guwahati, IGC 2017. I would say after joining PhD, maybe within 1 year or maximum 1.5 years, you should get one conference paper, because when you write at least a conference paper, you get the confidence that I can write paper. Because when we join initially, we don't know how to write papers and we are confused, we are, frustrated also how to write. But when you get at least some small paper, you get some confidence. And conferences are also meant, if you give some presentation, you get confidence, you get exposure, and also you can meet people and you can communicate. So I give you one example. I wanted to download one software, but that website was closed, and I was waiting when can I download. So when I went to one conference, the professor who developed that software came there. I met her, I asked her, and she told me that now we have developed a different website. You go there and download. So I could download it. This is just one incident. I had many other incidences when I was in some problem and I got some idea or solution from some professor. So these things can happen at conferences. So I suggest one national conference and one international conference minimum should be done during PhD. Additionally, you can do whatever you want. Okay, so that was conference 17 December, I remember. And just 1 week later, 24 December, I got engaged. Okay. But right now, let me talk only about PhD. So in the conference, there was one session by Springer. Technical sessions we all attend. But Springer session, I remember one thing. There are many students who are not so good at English. So they suggested to read the writings of two authors. One is Amitav Ghosh, other is Khushwant Singh. So these two authors they have very good vocabulary and their writings are very good. That's what they suggested. You can have a look at that. Okay. Unfortunately, I have seen some students, their papers are getting rejected because of poor English. Okay, I also got some comment in my paper, but there are other comments also. But there are people who are facing problems. So this is an option for them. Okay. So this is about literature review and conference. Then, okay, next there will be planning of your experimental setup and then numerical simulations, what you are going to do in work. Now my work was a field test and then some work in a computer lab. I did some numerical simulations. What I suggest is there are a lot of things to do in PhD and only one person cannot have all the skills. So we should develop an environment where we work as a group and when different people have different skills, they should share their skills. I don't know exactly how to do, but I share my experience. When I had some problem in Python coding and all, Kaushal and Digvijay helped me. Okay, Kranti also helped me a lot. And then I also helped them. It's not that I just took help. Okay. So it's like that. I remember some of my friends, they were in BTech and they had exams. So one person read one chapter, second person read second chapter, and similarly. So before the day of exam, they read and explained to all other friends. And then they went for exams and they got at least sufficient marks. So this is some kind of thing, I don't know how PhD, how we can do, but something can be planned. Okay, fine. So after this work, the next comes the research paper writing. So basic things you all know how to, you have done some work and you have to present in some way. There was a good session by Manish Shikhande sir on Research Scholar Day about writing, if you remember. He gave very good suggestions. But I want to suggest about one thing which people neglect many times, that is the quality of figures. So when I submitted my first journal paper, I submitted in Word and my all images were in JPG format. So it looked okay initially, but when the paper came, it published, the quality became very bad. It became blur. So I got frustrated that I put so much efforts and final output is not what I expected. So I suggest one thing. Now there are different tools for making figures also. So they are suggesting to submit figures in vector format. So one is .eps and .svg or maybe .pdf also. You can submit your figures in this format. Am I audible?
Yes.
So, and how to convert JPG to this format? So there is a software called Inkscape. Some people have also suggested GIMP, but I don't know about this. But I have used this software. for my work. So you can have a look. Hello. So right now when I suggested, the journal itself initially said to submit it in vector format only. So I am now following this. You can also check. Also for research paper writing, there is one tool called LaTeX. Although I did all my work in Microsoft Word, I have heard that LaTeX is a very good tool. I think you should learn it. But when I came to know, it was too late. So whoever are in initial stage of PhD, they should have a target of learning this software initial stage, like LaTeX or any other software they want to learn. Initial stage is the time where you can learn these things. Later stages, you have to submit papers, you have to give thesis and all these things. You do not have time. Okay, so this is about research paper writing, and then it was thesis writing. That was probably the most difficult time in my whole PhD journey, because there was a lot of stress, and the biggest mistake I made is, on each day I decided that I want to finish this much work no matter whatever time. So I used to stay at department till 3 a.m., 4 a.m. and because of that my sleeping cycle got disturbed. I used to get up late, and then when I got up late I felt so lazy, and I faced a lot of trouble. And the problem is, even after submitting the thesis, it took around 2 to 3 months to get my sleeping cycle back. It was so difficult. I was not able to sleep properly. So I suggest all of you, whatever you do, PhD, that's okay, but take enough amount of sleep. It is highly recommended 8 hours of sleep. If you remember, there was a Nobel Prize for Medicine in 2017. It was on body clock. So that much important it's there. Okay. Also, one more thing I suggest is, during PhD, you should have some time for recreation, like playing sports and all, because I tell you my experience. I used to just do PhD work. So at one point of time, I got frustrated, bored. I felt that there is no pleasure in my life. So I want some type of instantaneous pleasure. So I felt like I want to do something like drinking or smoking. Okay, but I didn't do that. But if you don't do any kind of recreational activity like sports and all, you feel like I want to do something like that. So some room should be kept for that. Okay, and I have seen some people come every day. They don't take rest any day. I would suggest minimum one day, Sunday, you should take rest. Maybe you can do this gully cricket. That's a good idea. Okay. Yes. That's all about till thesis writing. And yes, one more thing I want to say. Some initiative which our department has taken, like this Research Scholar Day, I really appreciate. We had a wonderful lecture especially from Manish sir, Vaising sir, and then MN Sharma sir. He gave on startups. So I again tell you my experience. Manish sir was giving presentation on how to deliver presentations, and immediately after him, my presentation was scheduled. So he gave many suggestions, and I remember one thing. He told that before giving any presentation, you should do practice. You should not be extempore. Now, immediately after him, my presentation was there. I had not practiced anything, but fortunately there was a half an hour high tea break. So everyone went there, but I didn't go there. I went to my cabin. For half an hour I just practiced. I came back, I gave my presentation, and in the end they gave me the best presentation award. Okay, so what I want to say is, our professors are actually very knowledgeable, not only technical but many things. So we should arrange this type of activities. Okay, so this funny incidents have happened with me. I tell you one more experience. There was a conference, research conclave, and I attended it online. It was online. I attended on WebEx. I attended all the lectures, and my presentation was the last. So when my presentation came, I started, but my audio was not going there. Okay, and the last presentation I cannot even say keep my presentation at some other time. So what to do? And it was a Sunday. Nobody was there in the department, and I was alone in my cabin. What would happen? But luckily, Sukanta was also giving presentation in the same conference just before me. So he himself came to my room and told that come to my room and give your presentation. I gave my presentation, and in the end, me and Sukanta both were given the best paper award in that thing. Okay, so this is where I feel that there should be more interactions between us. What I feel is there is less amount of interaction among the PhD students. I know some of my BTech friends. One of my friend, he was in BTech, this Rajendra Bhavan. He knows every single person in his hostel. That much interaction is there among BTech people. So we should also develop some, I don't know, some activities we should do such that we have some interactions. Okay, so I also remember Sukanta started this IGS student chapter, and he did many activities, and he initiated many things, but after he left, I don't think there is much activities have been initiated. So I feel somebody should take initiative and move ahead, because this research conclave was also organized by this local chapter. Okay, and then many good lectures were organized. So it's a good initiative. I know one of our senior MTech, my MTech senior, Debasis, he did PhD from ISC Bangalore. He became the president of IGS local chapter at ISC Bangalore, and you can see their website. They have done so many activities, and it has benefited to all the students there. So something like that can be done from our department also. Okay, then okay, then this all technical. One more thing I want to suggest. My experience, first of all, let me share. So I got married in 2019, and during PhD getting married is a bit challenging. I had told my wife that I will finish my PhD in 4 or 5 years, but it took 7 years. So she had to make a lot of sacrifices. Fortunately, my wife and in-laws, they are very supportive, but they had to make sacrifices. So I would suggest, if you want to marry and the person is also working, then maybe you can plan towards the end of your PhD. I know one of our colleague friend, her marriage was decided towards the end of her PhD. So she requested her in-laws to keep the marriage just after PhD submission. So she submitted thesis, she got married, applied for interviews, got selected in a job, that also in the same town as her husband, and then started her job. So this is also one important thing in PhD, because we are in such an age that there is a pressure to get married. Okay, so these are the things which needs to be taken care. I think I have covered everything. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So if you have any questions, you can ask.
Tell us about your selection journey in NIT.
Okay, so first in November I saw that there is a recruitment drive, so I applied, and they shortlisted 39 students in civil engineering department, and they sent me an email, and they had told that there is a teaching presentation, then there is a research presentation, and then interview. So I had 10 days maybe. So I prepared for all this teaching presentation. I prepared on Blackboard 10 minutes, and then research presentation, they give the format, some PowerPoint, and I made that. And for the interview, they can ask anything from your basic geotechnical engineering, means over specialization. So I had prepared, and fortunately everything went well for me. And so some NITs, they are also keeping the written test. Okay, so you never know what can happen at what time.
10 minutes.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Aniket sir. Thank you everyone for joining us. We'll try to inculcate all the suggestions during our PhD journey. And thank you once again. We will be arranging high tea within 5 minutes, like Suman sir